This is Grandmaster Boris Alterman and you're watching Gambit Guide. Started a new series of lectures about the Goring Gambit, or as we call it, the Scotch Gambit. So after e4 and e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4. So we are going into the very, I would say, interesting the outcome of the Scotch opening line after e takes d4. In that position we are studying in our previous lectures the bishop c4 line, which after knight f6 could lead to the classical two knights defense. After bishop c5 somehow it could lead to the quite sharp lines with short castle knight f6 and e4 e5. However, instead of bishop c4 or knight takes d4, which is a classical Scotch opening line, which becomes very popular after Kasparov played it in his World Championship match against Anatoly Karpov in 1990, the other move just deserves our attention, as this is a c3 move. So white is going to sacrifice a pawn, and after d takes c3, instead of going with the course of the Danish Gambit, which we just already studied in our lectures, after bishop c4, which allows black to capture another pawn with c takes b2 and bishop takes b2, and white has quite serious compensation for the material deficit. White could just capture on c3 immediately and get quite a good development, but just for 1 pawn down. So this position after knight takes c3 we call the Goring Gambit or the Scotch Gambit, and these opening lines still very popular on the intermediate and beginner levels, and even I found a few players who use it quite successfully even on master and even grandmaster level. So what compensation white has for his sacrificed pawn? Of course, this is a quite serious difference from the Danish Gambit, because with the knight on c3, white has, I would say, more control over the d5 square, but his dark square bishop never goes to b2 in these lines. Indeed, white is continuing with the same course like in the Danish Gambit. It means that we are bringing the bishop to c4, looking towards the weakest spot in black's position, the f7 pawn. The queen d1 to b3 always is a great opportunity for white just to increase the pressure over the f7 pawn. Because knight on c3 is controlled so good the d5 square and e4 square, so white could have the opportunity to push the pawn after e4 e5. Already after knight takes c3 we can understand that it's not so simple for black to develop his pieces. And here after e5 black played very inaccurate move, knight e4, trying to use the pin of the knight on c3, but the knight a4 is a serious blunder, and I believe that you can find it very fast if you already studied my previous lecture and understand that control over the center usually allows white additional tactical opportunities. So when we look at the white's queen, pawn on f7 and knight on e4, both, I would say, unprotected, because pawn on f7 is protected by only king and already attacked with white's bishop. So the simultaneous attack on these two targets would bring white decisive material advantage.